All right, let's call this meeting to order.
Peter Hahn,
Here.
John Kamish,
Here.
Ed Madden,
Present.
Seth Marcus,
Here.
Dana Syvertson,
Here.
Agnes Varnarski, chairperson.
Here.
Joe Moskell, also recording secretary. We have a quorum.
And I am not running for mayor.
No, it's not. Okay, approval of minutes of regular meeting of September 13th.
I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion, and very well done, Jill.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes approved. Old business, update on workday schedules. So, last two workdays were supposed to be rained out, but they actually were pretty good. On Sunday, we had a workday. It was a light drizzle, but we managed, instead of canceling, and there was no thunder or lightning, so it was really nice. We had a big turnout, and we planted over 700 plants to stabilize the shoreline by the slough, like the last of the plants that we have. We collected some seeds, so we got a lot in. Had a couple of new volunteers, a Boy Scout and his father. Yeah, and then our last seed collection day, I mean, the forecast showed that it was going to rain till 8 o'clock. And then all of a sudden, the sky opened at 4:30, and there we go. So we had our seed collection this Wednesday, and so also collected a lot of seeds. Next Sunday, we'll probably be at the Seeded Prairie. There's a lot of seeds to collect there. And there's also some mulberry trees that can be cut down. Since they're on a, I think it's a 3-year burn schedule, we should just cut them down. So we can do a little invasive control and seed collection at the Seeded Prairie for the next workday. Any questions, comments? No?
Did
Nope.
you say that you planted seed at the slough this past Sunday? Did I hear
Plants. We actually
Did-
planted
you
plants.
just did all
Mhm,
plants?
704.
No, we did seed too.
We collected seed.
You collected?
No,
Well,
we
we
put
actually
down
put
a
down, yeah,
lot of seed.
we put down seed, we
Okay.
collected
Get
seed,
your
and then we
story
planted
straight.
plants.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, a little bit. We put down a little bit of seed and collected some seed and put it on plants. Okay, outcome of Illinois Prairie Week.
Okay, I'll take that one. The first 3 events were seed collection, and then there was, the final event was the bird walk. The first 2 events, the seed collection, one of them got rained out, one of them got mosquitoed out,
Yeah.
and the third one was successful. But there weren't a lot of people there. The bird walk was really good. It was really a great time. And Lee and Mary Lou are absolutely to be commended, and they have committed to do the spring bird walks as well. So kudos to both of them. It's truly a labor of love for them. So that's it. Next year, maybe we can start talking about it sooner,
Yes, that's a good
so that we
idea.
don't have to,
Maybe
come
we
up with
can
something,
put
but
it on the agenda,
seat of our pants.
In July or something.
yeah, even sooner than that maybe, because by the time we have ideas and then,
Let's put it on the June agenda.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, report on Commissioners Monitoring Project site results.
We were just going to, if there were any comments on the reports.
Well, I can,
So-
what I can tell you is, everybody sent in the reports, we all saw them. Do you want those as a Word doc or something? That's what I sent you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I thought you were just gonna add them to the minutes as
Correct.
an addendum.
Yes,
Okay, you can print out everyone else's
Yes.
emails?
And
Okay.
you've gotten all of them as
Um,
well.
except for Seth.
The issues that everybody brought up in there, we have addressed a lot of them. So your thing with the path there, Jeremy has gone over and reworked that. So
Yeah,
that-
so everybody's comments that
Done.
were issues
Right.
have been or will be addressed.
Mhm.
And so like, Jill, you mentioned the teasel,
Mhm.
and that's already done.
Mhm.
So it was right after your report that we went out and did that. And then Peter, all of your comments, we'll have a couple of work days to do some of the chips and all of these things, so,
We did go over and look at the site this morning. It's terrible. We've got to meet with Dino.
oh, but
and
that part, yeah.
Try to
that
corral
was-
that and figure out.
Yeah,
what
so
the heck's going on.
all of these things, and I think, I really appreciate everybody going out and doing this, because I can't always, it's a lot to do and see, but, don't think that there's just a report, like, we're actually gonna
What was-
follow up on everything.
What was terrible at the nature preserve?
The dumping has spread.
Oh, yeah.
It's gone, it's moved west, and it's almost onto the creek bank. And Peter's white pine that he's been nursing along for 4 years now, or 3 years, is almost completely covered up by debris. And then someone dumped a mound hill of gravel in there as well. So those are things that are just not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So we'll have to meet with Dino. Find out what happened.
How, where are things at with the Park District now in terms of, like, our communication with the executive director? I know at one point it kind of fell off, right?
Yeah.
Has that improved, or?
Well, it's not that it fell off because of any animosity or anything. It's just, you know, Christina's really busy.
Especially during the summer.
We're really busy, and we just haven't had a lot of opportunity to connect and talk. We are going to, and this sort of jumps over a couple of things in the agenda, but Agnes and I will be attending the board meeting at the Park District on the 16th to get, that's the last approval we need on the burn permits.
And I think it's helped to be at the last meetings as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. The more conversation, the more talking, the more, you know, maybe it would be good to set up a meeting, maybe with Christina, just to
Mm.
touch base, talk about certain things.
Because it does seem to be a communication issue perhaps, right?
You mean about the, like, the dumping at Marina?
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've discussed it many times, it just keeps happening. I don't think I think it's a miscommunication between the people maybe that work there or that, you know, are employed or get contracted out. Probably more contracted out, so they have a project and they contract out and then
The
maybe
gravel
those
dump,
things.
But somebody
Like the-
tells
like the
them you
gravel
can
dump.
that here.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's
Um,
not coming from that site, right? It is being brought there and dumped.
Yeah, for instance, the gravel mound is from the patio renewal, or it could be from the infield that they
Or it could be that someone
replaced.
dumped it, we don't know. We
Why
haven't-
you would dump it right there on top of Peter's tree is beyond me.
The
Well,
whole issue is still grinds my gear.
We can
Yeah.
ask for an agenda item on their board meeting and go over and sit down with them and talk about it again as a board,
Right, as a board, instead of just to Dino and Christina.
right?
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I don't want to just do that if there's another way to,
I think
Work it
out
out,
of just
but-
courtesy, we'd run it by Christina first and tell her that we would like to do that, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
I
so.
mean, it's one thing to me that just makes absolutely no sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
No, it never has.
And I just have a hard time believing there isn't any other spot where if it's okay to dump it there, is there anything else that's not as visible or being, you know, the effort, time and effort that
Yeah.
is
Well,
going into
I
that.
mean, I know that
area.
they've looked at
think
other
we need,
areas.
we need to maybe discuss with them, do they want this to be a nature preserve, or do they want this to be a dump? I don't think it can be both. It shouldn't be both.
No.
You know, it's a very visible spot, tennis
Yeah.
courts, playgrounds, storyboards, baseball fields, and a dump?
I mean, we've discussed this many times, and we just get
I-
pushback each time, like, look, there's no other way, we've looked at other sites, we've had this discussion, and they keep pushing back, and
Is
I
there
almost feel
another
like-
site that's a viable alternative?
they've looked at other sites as viable alternatives, and there's issues with neighbors not wanting that by their yard, or it's
So
too
since
far
when
away
do we
from,
just dump it here? Like, well, why?
because they've been doing that,
Well,
for years.
The agreement was that we defined an area where the dumping could occur. And then we planted hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts, which some,
And the idea was to cordon that off from the rest of the park. But then we were also supposed to, and we did, we put in another entrance coming up from the tennis courts. And the idea was that the traffic would bypass that dumping area
which it
and be
doesn't.
shielded off from the rest of the park when you're on the trail. And in theory, that works, but what
Mm-hmm.
happens is they just keep moving it further and further to the west, and it just never ends.
Just seems like the wizard is behind the curtain. Don't look there.
I mean, they need an area to be able to put their branches and things they
But
do.
what do other people do? I don't see this in any other parks.
I'm sure
There-
they have
there's gotta
areas,
be
they're
some
just
place
probably
that
hidden.
Well, if you were in one of those other parks, you'd be saying, yeah, that's where we do it, so. It's all
Well, I mean, they
relative.
should have not have agreed to make this a nature preserve if they wanted to continue dumping there. I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
the two
right,
should
in
be-
retrospect. Mhm.
it's mutually exclusive, and they're not, and it's a problem. I mean, they're ruining our work.
What do you guys think? Should we request to talk to the board?
Yes, but I think you should run it by Christina first,
Okay.
as
I
a
agree.
courtesy.
Yeah.
Right.
I mentioned at the last meeting about the idea of, we all have yard waste pickup at our homes. Could the city contract with yard waste pickup for the city? Or, sorry, for the park district?
I think they would probably tell you that it's just economically not feasible.
And but I'd like to see the numbers. I mean, before they say it's not feasible, what are the numbers? I mean, on the one hand, it's a big pile of dump for that site, but on the other hand, it's actually not that big. If it was a weekly pickup, it's not that much. A weekly pickup that we have at heck, I put out a lot in my front yard every week.
Yeah, but it adds up at the end of the year, like you'll see by
No, but
November.
that's what I'm saying, it adds up.
Yeah.
And
But
there's
if there was a
dumping
weekly
fees.
pickup, it
Right,
wouldn't.
but they also have tree trunks, like large logs that we've cut
Yeah.
up, like,
But my guess is they could get a price from the organization that does the yard waste pickup. I assume it's Republic Services. It might be economically not feasible, but I'd like to hear what the numbers are.
Mhm. Well, it's certainly an issue that we could raise if
At
we
the
have
board
a
meeting.
discussion with the board
Mhm.
meeting.
Yeah.
Pete?
I know every area, every facility needs a dump site, and it's been so convenient for the park district to dump there. It's right there at
Right.
Marava. So
it's right there.
it's kind of like a habit, and it's so easy to do, so let's just, keep on going with it. But if they could maybe coordinate with Public Works, I'm sure Public Works has, trees that they have to dispose of. And I know it's maybe a long drive down to where they dump, but it seems like it's a matter of convenience. It's, a couple 100 feet away, just dump it right there. It's just been going like that for years and years, so maybe it's just a thing where you have to, we're gonna have to take it down to the city hall or to the city dump and dump it there. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably a thing that you
Right.
could do.
I mean, the golf course, I'm sure, has certain areas too, where they have those areas, but
Yeah, that's been.
I know
rolled
that
out.
with the park district, the golf course and the park district have this sort of separation and different, but maybe if they work together, they could coordinate that between themselves as
All right,
well.
I'll send her an email tonight. Let's see if I'm sure we can't get it on for the 16th. But I'll ask, and if not, it'll probably be November. Okay?
Mhm.
Or to ask her, is there a way we can avoid bringing this to the board? That we have some commissioners that really want to push the issue.
I think it's not only commissioners, I mean, or volunteers too. I mean,
Yeah,
so many
volunteers
volunteers.
complain
Right,
about it.
and residents, and so, is there a way to avoid that?
Okay. I will BCC everyone on the message to Christine.
On my, back to the site thing, are we done with that? Back to the issue about sites, on the end of my report, I said that I would bring a specimen in from my site, so I did. This can be entered as Exhibit A into the record. And I said I would bring these for identification.
Dog vein,
Opossum cannabinum, dog bane, Indian hemp,
Indian hemp.
or dog bane, common names.
Is it in the milkweed family?
It is actually not, although
Oh,
it shares
so
many of the characteristics of the milkweed family, having the milky sap and having the same structure of the pod and the seeds, the way that they're arranged inside, but it's completely a different family. It's actually the Apocynaceae, which is the dogbane family.
So is that something we want to harvest?
It's a little weedy and
Okay.
aggressive, so we've harvested it in the past, and then we seem to not be able to find a weedy place to put it in, so I think not.
Okay.
Unless we had some open space that needed to be filled with just something temporarily, because it is native, But it's, on that scale of, the coefficient of conservatism, it's like a 1 out of a 10.
Okay.
So it's
So
sort
that's
of,
in my report at the site. It's ready for harvest, but I guess unnecessary.
sorry. We could collect a little bit of it, because it is native.
What's it
Oh, sorry, I'll pass it.
Dog Bane?
Dog Bane, Indian.
Are you saying vein or vein?
Dog Bane, B-A-N-E.
That's what
Aaron, you can smoke.
You can see the little fluff
Yeah.
inside, and it just forms the seed pods, just like our milkweeds.
Okay, we done with that item?
Okay.
Outreach, Jill, could you bring us up to speed on the garden club?
Yes, I do need a paragraph on our group and a picture. We have to include Peter and Seth. I did communicate with her that I would be sending it to her as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we can
We need to take a
accomplish that.
picture of all of us. Right,
And I
all of
need
us
a-
together.
And I need a paragraph on us, too.
Okay, with that boilerplate, we have it.
Yeah, the paragraph's no problem, but the picture, to get us all together, and
Didn't we have something written up for Wild Things?
Yeah, I sent that out to everybody, should have had it, the abstract.
oh, for this
Yeah.
February, or from
Oh,
last Wild Things?
From the past.
From the past, yes.
Yeah, no, that would be more closely parallel our talk of the SLU 101.
Yeah.
That is, she's not referring to this as the Wild Things. This is in regards to the presentation
The SLU 101.
at Mount Prospect Garden Club, SLU 101.
But it's the same presentation.
Yeah, exact same.
Yeah, and then we do have some information about commissioners, but now we have another, Peter wasn't in there because he wasn't doing the presentation,
Right.
so he wasn't in the photograph, but
You need to update it.
we need to update it. And I think we don't necessarily have to include just the people that are talking for this
Right.
presentation, but all of the commissioners.
Tangentially, when you go to the NRC website, as I mentioned, and there's if you do a search, one of the links is for the commissioners, and if you click on it, it gives some lectures, et cetera, but it has 3 photographs, and the 3 photographs are incomplete in terms of who the commissioners are, and it's not
Yeah.
an up-to-date.
I
But
looked
the
at that
thing-
and
The
it's-
thing you need to understand about, that's a historical record of a talk. That was the landing page
Right.
for the talk. Why Google links that to commissioners? I
Yeah, because
have
it
no
only
idea.
works on Google, it
What I
doesn't go
am-
from the site.
But my
Yeah.
point being is if we are gonna get a photograph of everybody, then we might want to update the site so that when somebody does click on commissioners, we can have it linked to that.
Well, that's what we would need to do in that case is create a new web page for commissioners. Because I'm not gonna change that page. That page was the landing page for the talk that we gave a year ago in September. And those were the people that were speaking. So to go back in and change that is not, it's not what happened.
But you could create a new one,
So we would create a new,
right?
we can either do one of two things. If you guys want to have an individual page for commissioners, and then we could put, this is Peter, this is Seth, this is whoever, and then some blurb about us, we could certainly do that.
That's not a bad idea.
So if we want to do that, we can certainly do that. That's easy.
But I think the group photo is really nice, too. We should also have a group
Well, the
photo.
group photo could be on the commissioners page as well.
Right.
Where's this commissioner's thing?
It's not on the website. Only if you Google. If you Google it, there was no tab for commissioners on here.
No, there's no tab for commissioners.
But if you go to Google and you enter PHNRC, the drop-down menu from Google
But don't
goes to
do
PHNRC.
.com, just do PHNRC.
All right.
Yeah, just do PHNRC, and then there's a drop-down from Google that will say PHNRC commissioners for whatever reason, because we don't even have
It's
that.
just word linking, it does
Yeah.
behind the scenes, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's a good idea. We can add a page, and we can
All
have,
right, so are we all in favor of adding a page then?
yeah.
Okay.
But let's, how do we should have a group photo, too, so how do we
Yes.
arrange that?
Somebody just needs to arrange it.
Party at John's again?
I could host a photo party if you guys
All right.
Okay.
want.
Subliminal.
Well, I better check it out with the other half.
Okay.
The War Department.
Or,
Check it out with the warden.
yeah.
Uh,
And if not, we could, just meet at my house, just for a session, a picture session, photo session like we did then.
Okay.
Have a nice natural background.
We have to do it during the day if we want to lighten out.
Yeah. Could be a weekend, too.
Maybe this Sunday?
This Sunday, this week I'm gone.
You're done. Okay.
I leave at 5 in the morning tomorrow, and I'm not coming back until
Thursday.
Thursday.
Wow.
He's kidding,
We'll
but,
look at next weekend.
but how soon do you need this?
Well, our talk is on the 14th. She didn't give a deadline for the description, but I would say as soon as we can.
As soon as we can.
Sure.
All
All
right.
right, I'll check it out with the warden.
Okay.
Thursday, I'm taking Thursday off as a result of all this, so if anybody's available on Thursday, while it's still light out, we can do that.
Next week, Thursday?
Yeah, we could always do it in the morning too.
No, I wouldn't.
No,
leave them
all
late.
in the morning. Probably weekend, maybe
Or next, the
Saturday
following
afternoon.
weekend.
Probably the weekend will work,
Sunday.
but
If we all come to the workday on next weekend.
Yeah, we can email back and forth. Availability probably would be best, like everybody
Let John
says.
check with the warden
But
first.
yeah, John can check with the word first, and then we'll email availability, and then we'll take some nice group photos. And that's November 14th, Joe?
Yes,
What time is that?
1 o'clock?
1 PM. That's a Wednesday? No.
Yeah,
Okay, just want to make sure.
yes, it is a Wednesday.
I have it on the calendar, just wanted to make double sure about that.
Okay. The high school status, Linda Wacy has reached out to them, and we're still waiting for a response, so at some point, we'll have something to talk about. That's it. Nature Speaks, we got a commitment from Bill Climich at Natusha, so he will be the June 2009 speaker. I just received all of his information and his photos and stuff, so I can actually create his webpage now. I reached out to the guy Seth recommended on the planting turtles. I haven't heard a thing back from him, so I'll follow up again. And that's about all the time I had. So that's where we are. We have Joel Greenberg, of course, on November 29th. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, do, because it will fill up.
Okay. Anything more on that?
No.
Nature Preserve interpretive
All right, I
signage.
brought in the proof of the 24 by 36 inch sign.
Looks
So-
very nice.
It's, that's really short. So the question was, do we want to use the real estate and create two completely different signs, or simply have the same, because the issue was, which way are you entering the park from?
You enter both ways.
You enter
Or you
both
exit
ways,
both
so
ways.
you have the same sign at both entrances. The only difference would be, on Pine Street, you'd have the red X with "you are here," and on Elm Street, you'd have the red X, "you are here."
Well, is there anything more we want to say or convey?
The only thing I had started here was talking about the volunteers, the importance of the volunteers, and then the plan was to put 2 to 3 more small pictures here. These are actually really big photos. This is like 12-point type. So this type here is bigger than what's on that.
So I don't
Do
know-
we want one sign dedicated to volunteerism, and then the other sign, the welcome sign?
Well, we have a sign with, about, talking about the project and volunteers and pictures and things. There's 6 more signs in between. And, I mean, I guess, this is sort of really, there has been opportunity to look at it in detail, so we can do that and then come back with, you can email everybody this, right?
Yeah, I can send
And
you
then
the
everybody
PDF,
can
but-
read it in detail, and if there's any typos or any suggestions or comments, and then we could resend the final again. But it has to be done quickly because the ground's gonna freeze and we're gonna miss the opportunity to put it in the ground again. What's the time on production, like 2 weeks?
3.
And what's the size of the sign again?
This sign is 24 inches high and 36 inches wide.
Okay,
Big sign.
thank you.
It's a big sign.
It's a big sign, so I don't know if we shouldn't have a little bit more thought.
Okay.
What do you
I'll-
think? I mean, what do you guys think?
I think it's lovely.
Do you think we should go with 2 signs the same with just the "you are here" different? Or do you think we should try to use that second sign to convey more information?
If we have 6 signs, I mean, how much, I forget what all the content was. I know we've looked at them.
So it was about river.
Is there, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is there more that we need to say, or do we have it covered?
I mean, we have a lot
I
that
think we
we're
have it
saying.
covered, frankly, but, it's,
Then I would say just duplicate it with "you are here" different.
Yeah, I agree. Keep it the same. You've
you
done a
want me
lot
to
of work
email
on
you
this.
the proofs of the other
Sure.
6? Okay.
Have you seen them, Seth?
I think I have.
Okay. So, as far as this one,
The only thing, the one thing I would say on that, the three pictures on the top right, that's what the site used to look like.
Correct, that's what it says underneath it.
I would suggest just putting something stating the obvious there that, before, some type of designation, because I look at that and my first thought is, well, what's that? If you read it, then you know, but almost just to be able to tell,
yeah, and it's very
just by
small.
glancing at it, you know, before restoration.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, when this is full size, it's big type. This is, it's 12-point type, so, it's, you know, it's gonna be at least that big, so it'll be easy to read.
Well, again, my point really just is to glance at, you know, not, we're assuming everyone's gonna stop and read the whole thing. Where by having something like that on there, that might engage them to read it more, going, oh,
Right.
that's what it looked like before.
Maybe like larger
But not
font,
to read,
bold.
because my first thing I looked at, it's like, what jumped at me is, I don't know what this is. Where that could end, you know, it's just an opportunity, maybe a small banner kind of at the bottom of the middle
Yeah,
picture.
maybe it
that-
just says before and it's identifies.
Before
Before
restoration.
restoration in
Well,
bold.
that's what it says, it says before, these three photos show the nature
No, what I mean
preserve.
is, within
Like-
the photos or right below them,
Mhm.
or right above them, something that, but
In
just when you
bold, like
glance
that.
at it,
Yeah,
you immediately see those three photos are the before photos.
Mhm.
something.
Yeah,
Okay.
just again, so for the casual looker, that might be something to
Glance it.
stop them, to engage them, to actually read more about it, instead of having to read it to understand what that is.
Okay. And the other 6 signs have been approved, so if we just move through this sign, and you email it to everybody within the next couple of days, we get everybody's comments back, and then email back. that
Well, he won't
final.
have time, because he's out of commission for the next.
Well, I'm at home at night, but I've gotta get up at 5 o'clock every morning to leave, so when I get home, it's 6, 7 o'clock by the time I get from downtown, so.
It's not that much work you're gonna have to do on it.
No,
It's
it's not.
just wordplay, it's adding paragraphs, it's
Right.
maybe half an hour worth of work, so you can do it.
I can do it, yes. Okay,
So then, do we need to vote about keeping it 2 signs or 1, since there's disagreement, or?
well, how about if I
Can we just go
modify
along?
it and then send it back out, and then you guys can just let me know,
Okay.
Okay.
is that right?
Sasa, then are you okay with having 2 of the same at both ends?
Yeah, I mean, let me just say 2 sentences. I think we have, you know, the audience is for a very, very limited time. And if we can impart 1 or 2 extra pieces of something, you know, take that opportunity. I mean, there's always another plant or animal to identify. There's always another pretty picture that might catch their eye. And if we have them for just 6 or 8 signs worth, might as well use all 8 signs to the max.
There is a point.
Okay. It's easy to plug it in and just change it around, so.
Okay.
Well, okay, but,
All right, let me rework this a little bit, and then I'll send it out.
but I think we still need to decide whether to engage into another sign or not.
And then it just, so I don't just leave this off, if we're gonna have a before, maybe to do an after, where the photos showing of how it looks now, just a similar type of thing, just to indicate, okay, this is what it looked like before, this is what it looks like now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the concept here was before is up here, and it's identified as before, during, and then after, and I thought, okay, why am I gonna put pictures of after when you're standing in after? Just didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
So that was.
And we
my
do have
thinking.
really pretty pictures of like, the wildlife.
I mean, it
and-
would make more sense to put in
And all the plants that you can see there,
plant photos.
And we did.
We have really nice ones.
in the other
So
signs.
maybe that would be the way to do it then.
so even if it's not the after, just then, before restoration, during restoration, and then the obvious is the restoration. But just to kind of point that out with it, what this is conveying, and the main thing is conveying, hey, this was pretty bad, and it's really nice now.
Mhm.
And to me, it's just a visual, quick visual representation of that, that would engage somebody to read the context or the text, and to solidify it at that point. But again, when I looked at it, my first thought is, well, what is this? It looks like the middle picture to me, looks like it's somebody's kind of front yard or backyard. You know, and I'm like, why is that on here?
For what?
Okay, now I said many times that does look like, that is somebody's front.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna rework it and I'll send it back out.
Okay.
But other than that, it's awesome.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how does she like to play? Okay. So.
Still.
We're still at a quagmire, so let me just rework this and send it back out and see what everybody thinks.
But I don't think we need a vote on it. I think you just send it out and yay or nay.
Yeah.
Or we just ignore Seth.
Or yay, or yay unless nobody, you know, if you don't nay.
I mean, okay. It would be a lot of work to come up with a new sign.
Well, I'm just thinking of a couple more, in other words, have the map on both ends. I think keep
Yeah.
the map on both ends, and keep the general gist on both ends. But, you know, if you have 8 signs and 2 of them are saying you've cut your by 1/8, you've cut your ability to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Might as well use that 1/8 time to.
How about this? We're gonna send Seth an email with all the signs, and you can look through all the signs. And then if there's something missing, you can come up with suggestions and ideas, and maybe there's a really quick way to be able to incorporate almost the same signs at both ends, but maybe a little different with increased information. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Great. We have a plan.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right, next.
Strategic plan.
Strategic planning.
Right, nothing to report, we haven't been able to get together, I won't be able to get together until after this thing. But if you'd like to do something next weekend, where we can meet to start put bones on this, and then present it to everybody to start really diving into, does that work for you?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so I'll email you and we'll pick a date
Sounds great.
and then we'll proceed.
Good.
As a commission, or is it just you and Seth?
No, just Seth and I are gonna bring in
Oh, okay.
point X, where it's got meat on the bones, and then we'll talk
And then
about
we'll
it
all talk about
as
it
a-
collectively.
Okay.
collectively.
I think at the last meeting, we decided that they were gonna
Okay.
work on it. Mhm. Okay. Comprehensive equipment list and 2019 budget. So, we need to start thinking about this. I think the budget's due in January, the budget requests. Peter, is that true? The budget request for 2019?
When they're gonna do? I would start thinking about it November-ish, start putting together a list, so we have it for the first of the year. So,
Okay, so,
we haven't even started batting around dates yet, but I would start doing something before the first of the year, just to have your ducks in a row. It could always change, but you wanna make sure you at least have, a core list of what you wanna do, or how you wanna spend the budget you're proposing. Like this year, you made changes with the interns, so kinda have those conversations beforehand.
okay. So there's a couple of ways to approach this. We can all work on it together. We can email suggestions. Danny and I can just work from what we had in the past and offer suggestions, and then we could talk about it.
Can we just
Or-
alter the previous budget? I mean, things are gonna be similar, aren't they, or,
Pretty much.
Pretty much,
so.
as far as
previous
equipment.
Budget, and make a few,
Yep. Should we send, just email out the
Add the
last year's
drone.
budget and everybody look at it? Okay.
Mhm.
I guess the big thing is the intern.
Right.
in the drone.
Drone. But we all agree that we want to fund, I mean, that the city
That's
would like the intern as being funded, correct?
Yes,
Okay. All right, so we'll come up with something and then email it, and we can discuss at the next meeting.
Sure.
in detail, okay? All right. Poplar Creek Prairie Steward Seed Collecting Days, this Sunday, this coming up Sunday. All the seeds are ready, and they have invited us to come and collect as many of the 2 species that we've requested several species, but the 2 species, the Indian grass and the little blue slime, they said, come and take as much as you want. So the more volunteers and hands and bags we have, then the
What,
more we can collect.
What's the timing of that?
9 to 12, Sunday, this Sunday. And then I'm looking to hopefully get a following weekend, maybe like a Saturday the following week, and if there's an opportunity during the week too. Maybe on a Wednesday or something morning, over the next couple of weeks. Because right now, everything's ready right now to collect, so. If anybody can make it, that'd be great,
I will be gone.
this Sunday, yeah. Maybe next Saturday.
This end of the room is,
No.
what happened?
He's sleeping.
Peter, you said you might be
Yeah.
able to, okay, good.
Try and get there.
All right, great.
Love to be there.
This Sunday? Yeah, I can't, I already.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
we
you did.
emailed.
Yeah, right. Okay, great. Oh, you emailed you?
He emailed
Yeah,
me.
okay.
Yeah, it's on your list.
Okay. All right, great.
All right, fall prescribed burns, we have, the second permit has been approved and signed off by Illinois EPA, so that is squared away. We had the burn approved as an agenda item at city council meeting on Monday. St. Al's has approved their burn. And Agnes and I are going to the Park District Board meeting on the 16th to get their permission to burn the Park District properties. So we are basically ready to go. Agnes is going to have to purchase a couple of new Nomex suits based on the increase of people that are certified.
Which is really great.
And as soon as we can start formulating timelines, we'll do that.
Mhm. We need a couple of really
Hard for us.
hard frosts before anything.
We were supposed to get one tonight.
Yeah, that's like very
Too hard
light.
frost, humidity between 20 and 40%, winds below 20 miles an hour.
That's right. That's what we
Someone
need.
went to class
Yeah.
and took notes.
Yeah, nice.
So we are ready to go on that.
Okay. Any questions about that? No. Oh, what about availability? Is there a certain, when we start working this, is there certain days of the week that
Well,
people
this
can
is
participate
we
in?
just gotta play this all on
Yes,
a wing and a prayer, right?
yeah.
I mean, it's just,
It's condition dependent, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's the first hurdle is, of course, all the fuel's got to be made ready.
Ready, yes,
And
absolutely.
then it's a matter
Conditions,
of
weather
the wind
conditions.
conditions and the humidity and is the fuel wet? I mean, you know.
But we do take into consideration like availability as well, so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if there's like a 3-day window where it's gonna be good burning time, then everybody's off on a Tuesday or a Thursday, then we take that into consideration and we do that.
I'd say for me, weekends are going to work best, but.
yeah, ditto. But again, I'll be flexible to,
Mm-hmm, yeah,
you know,
if given a,
just take off the time.
Right.
As long as I don't have a conflict.
I mean, I know Wednesdays work for me, but,
I could do Wednesday too, Wednesdays and weekends probably.
okay. All right, I'll let you know when things get closer to the time. All right, great.
Okay, seed processing and volunteer appreciation day. We have it scheduled roughly for November 18th. It will be at the garage, which has been completely redone. To make sense out of that mayhem and accommodate all this. We need to start collecting everybody's ideas for Volunteer of the Year. So if you have suggestions, if you want to just email it to me, and then
I know one person.
I'll put a list together. Yeah, don't tell us who it
No,
is right now.
who not? Not Ed.
Not Ed. Commissioners can't be the Volunteer of the Year.
Well, yeah, we made that a little rule previously, but, well, I don't know.
So if you guys want to just email me your your suggestions. I'll put a list together and then we will see what we get.
Nominations. Just, should we each choose one person as a nomination or a
Whatever you
couple
think,
people
whatever
or
you want to do,
like a 1, 2, 3 kind of thing? And
whatever you want to do.
what do you guys want to do?
It's
I
up to
think
you.
that's a good idea. Just, if there's somebody you want, just speak up in writing.
We have another meeting before then, but I don't know, there's probably not enough time.
No, I still have to make the trophy and all the rest of that
Right.
stuff. I mean, it takes a
Yeah.
while to produce that thing, so I need time.
Okay. So we'll all agree via email?
Yes, so as soon as you can send me your recommendations, the better.
And it can be like 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Okay, great. Okay. Do we need anything else for that?
Nope.
As far as like food and,
We could
Well-
discuss that in November.
Yeah. When's the board meeting though?
What,
Well,
In
is it
November.
before the 18th?
our next meeting
Yeah.
yeah, for
is
sure.
November 8th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
10 days before then.
Yeah.
Oh, there's plenty of time.
Yeah.
to
Is
get
that a
food.
Sunday, the 18th, or
Yes.
Saturday?
It's the
Sunday.
Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And it's usually the week after Poplar Creek has their big seed processing event. So theirs is the 11th and ours is the 18th. All right, great. City civic meetings and PHNRC representation reporting.
Okay, as I mentioned, Agnes and I are going to take the Park District October 16th meeting.
I'm gonna go to the city council meeting, I forgot the date that's coming up.
When's the next council meeting, Peter?
Sounds about right. Yeah, Monday.
Yeah, that's Billy right. Last one was the 8th at 14:27.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then,
I did attend the council meeting on the last Monday. So that one is, we know what happened there too.
okay, should we move on? McDonald Creek Commission, September 25th meeting. Jill.
Okay. John Kinseth provided the McDonald Creek Commission presentation to the city council in September. The mayor and aldermen pledged their support to McDonald Creek Commission to continue with their objectives. MCC distributed the McDonald Creek brochure, but have only heard from one resident to date. Kathy Brady toured McDonald Creek over the Labor Day weekend, and the creek was really flooded. Somerset Park was flooded, including the playground equipment. Jan Fuller referenced a journal article from September 5th, 2018, entitled "City Engineer Suggests 9 Study Areas for Flood Control." The city engineer gave a presentation on which flood-prone areas to address first from the list mentioned in the journal article. He recommended adding 2 or enlarging storm sewers to better drain the Arlington countryside neighborhood west of Rand Road into the creek tributary by Morava. When asked if he had considered the impact on downstream flooding, he said no, but did not think the extra water would raise creek waters much. Aldermen seemed inclined to agree with this plan. McDonald Creek is not in favor of doing something to increase the storm sewer to drain that neighborhood into the tributary of the creek. The tributary becomes very narrow and floods Elmhurst Road at times. It feeds the slough, which often floods Willow Road. Incorporating downstream impacts should be considered. There is value in keeping stormwater on site, allowing it to pass through permeable/pervious surfaces to recharge our underground aquifers instead of being redirected downstream. Consideration should also be to using rain barrels and rain gardens, permeable pavers, as I mentioned, and no placement of downspouts in the swales. On another matter, McDonald Creek is seeking assistance from the PHNRC for a small restoration project. ComEd recently cleared vegetation under their power lines in Country Gardens Park off of Schoenbeck Road. Kathy felt they sliced and diced crabapple trees that had no chance of ever growing tall enough to impact the power lines. They also scalped a 50-foot section of the creek bank just west of PHNRC's Prairie Restoration. I did pass this by Agnes. Would PHNRC provide seed or plugs to do a sample restoration slash erosion control project there. Agnes said yes. We have 800 long-rooted grass plugs such as prairie cord grass and switchgrass. However, we need to review the slope to determine how steep it is. A 3-to-1 graded slope is recommended for successful stabilization with plants, but we could try to do it with erosion control blankets if the slope is steeper. If this is a project for next year as opposed to this year, we can certainly provide the plugs plus the seeds. I gave all this information to Kathy. I'm waiting to hear back from her. And Agnes also suggested that Kathy and the McDonald Creek Commission contact Dino and Christina directly, explain the project, and ask for permission. McDonald Creek next meets on October 23rd at 6 p.m.
Okay, comments?
Nice.
Thank you.
Comprehensive, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
I'd sure like to know what the feedback is from Kathy.
Yeah, I'm waiting for her to say,
Okay.
go ahead with it.
Wild Things Talks. Agnes was asked to participate in a panel discussion in addition to our talk. She's going to be talking about plant propagation. She's one of 3 people. It's a pretty amazing thing that they asked her to do that. I think it's a real feather in her cap, and I have to prop her up to get her to do
Well, it's very smart on their part, too.
it. Yeah.
Bring it in.
I emailed out the abstract that we went with on on our talk, so it's a matter now of at some point coming up. The talk is in February, so we're going to have to start
Before we shoot
doing a
the screen.
layout
No.
and breaking up the
What's the
pieces.
date on that again?
February 23rd, I believe. 3rd?
Was it the 23rd? It's in the minutes.
Sounds about right. It's late February.
But, yeah, I thought it was 23rd, but.
Usually the red-winged blackbirds are coming back by then, and the sandhill cranes.
February 23rd, a Saturday.
Yeah, okay.
So I think maybe next board meeting, we can
Readdress it.
readdress it, have some outlines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right?
Yes. Next is display cases for
mhm.
November, Prospect Heights
John
Library.
just had a comment about the cases here.
Okay, John?
About what?
The
The
cases,
display
display
cases.
cases for the library?
Oh, yeah. So I've got a lot of collected things like bones and skulls and feathers and wings and beaks and feet and I've got them all labeled and everything. So, I mean, they're pretty much could be set in a display case and ready to be viewed. Some interesting stuff, and it's all like local stuff, so.
Okay,
And if
that's
anybody,
great.
would want to add to that, that's certainly,
So when you say local, you mean the Prospect Heights area or the
Well,
the
all this-
northwest suburbs?
well, I mean, whether it's our Cook County Forest Preserves or
Okay.
whatever, it's, yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, there's a lot of like raccoon skulls, possum skulls, fox, deer, everything,
Yeah,
there's,
Great.
there's various small birds and some interesting stuff.
okay, that's great.
I could see, we have two display cases. Maybe we do that in one of the display cases, and in the other one we do pictures of volunteers in the NRC, and then we want to display some books and things. And
Right.
do that in the other one. So I think
And
that
it
would
did-
make sense.
That pamphlet that we did, I think
Right.
that sums up everything really nice.
I
Right.
think that's what you said. Is that a pamphlet that we can hand out, or
If we can cover the cost of printing.
it may not be that many copies? I don't know how we can make it available right next to display
I wonder
case.
if we could have something magnetic, a holder, and just.
Mm,
We can have Maria at
We have
the
Maria.
information desk.
That is true. We can ask Maria too if they have
Right.
something like that. But, okay, so who's gonna,
I'll look at the, getting the pamphlet published.
When is the actual setting of the
Install
display
is November
case?
1st.
November 1st is install.
yes,
For the whole month?
For the whole
yes,
month,
for the whole
right.
month. So does anybody want to help with that? Either
Sure.
putting it together or installation?
I can, but not until the evening.
Okay.
Is that too late?
Definitely help install it.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't know.
he's on, she's in, you're in, I'm in. Seth, want to help?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
He's already got a lot of. Okay. And as far as choosing the pictures, I can choose maybe pictures and then,
Well, remember, we have, from all the presentations we've done, we have a wad of photos.
right,
I mean, I don't think we need to publish anything new, we just go back and
no,
select
but
out.
we have somebody has to select them.
That's fine, I can give you the whole stack, you can go ahead and pick
Yeah,
out whatever you want.
just run it
Make
by
sure
everybody.
make sure you identify the plant, too.
Yeah, right. That's important, yes, identify. So like plants, volunteers,
Mhm.
work days, I mean
Mhm.
volunteers would have more.
It's hard to identify volunteers.
Kids events, right, plants will identify and birds, but volunteers we can identify as like the, it's a volunteer work day or a seed collection day or a fourth grade outing, sixth grade field trip, things like that.
Mhm.
Okay, we have a plan then, great. And next is consideration of a meeting in December. Comments?
I really don't want to do that. I need some time off.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I just thought because we're talking about the strategic plan
Right.
and we've got the talks coming up.
Yeah, I'm burnt out.
Okay,
I need
that's
to,
fine.
I mean, what do you think?
Let's ask everybody else first.
Okay.
I agree with Dana. I got
Give
your
Dana a
back on
break.
that one.
I would prefer not to have a meeting in December personally, but
Okay.
just because just
Do
from
you,
previous
Seth?
years, it's just been nice.
I don't have a strong
Yeah,
opinion on
it's traditionally take a holiday break. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot going on,
Yeah.
time to spend with family.
City council takes it off, right? City council takes off December, right?
The last week.
Yeah, last minute.
Yeah, it's just a nice time, take a breather, things slow
It's
down.
not uncommon for commissions to take a break every now and then. December's perfect time, so.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you want to cancel the December meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
Are we okay with that, everybody?
It's fine.
Mhm.
Sure, okay, all right,
I would just vote on it.
okay.
okay.
Oh, yes.
Then,
I make
I
a
make-
motion. that
I'll
we
second
go-
it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. All right, outreach programs. So I wanted to mention that recently, I think I mentioned it did I mention it at the last meeting or is this new? From Ann Sullivan, fourth graders. New, I guess it's new. So, well, I guess you can start it because you were involved in this. You-
Well, I think we talked about, the mayor called me up and
Right.
everybody knows that story. So
Right.
fast forward to what's transpired
What's
since
transpired is that, yeah, so this has turned into a year-long project for the fourth graders in Miss Kelly Funk's class. And so they're doing a whole prairie chapter, and they've come out to a field trip. They came out on a Wednesday, and we collected seeds, and we talked about things. They came with notebooks. They've already been researching. They've been dividing up into groups, so they're doing like plants and insects. They're going to put photos all over the classroom. They're really diving into prairies and why they're important and about prairie restoration. And these kids were really great, and they were so interested. It was a very pleasurable experience. Not only that, but they want to come out once a month, every month for the entire year to see how the prairie changes, to address
Wow.
new things. I mean, they're really going for it. It's really great. So if, it was very last moment, so it was like, you talked with the mayor, and the next day you went to talk to the kids, and then like 3 days later, they're out on a field trip. So, if anybody's interested, I can give you the dates when they'll be coming out. It's during the day. So, they came out like from 1 to 2 last time. And it's nice because they could walk from school. It's a 7-minute walk to Country Gardens and then to the prairie. So I'm really excited about that. And it's really nice to see them so engaged and involved. We even went out, and I'm talking about the plants, I'm showing them the plants. They already knew some of the plants, or at least had heard about them. So they were like, wait, we read about this one. Show me again. And so we saw so many insects, and praying mantis, garden spiders, so many birds.
How many fourth graders are there?
I'm not sure. But about between 15 and 20, I'd say.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Which prairie did you go to?
The seeded prairie.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
Good.
It was just,
I
and it was,
envision I envisioned that you were in seventh heaven there.
I was. Well, the best was this little girl that came up at the end, and she said, oh my gosh, she said, this is so beautiful. It must have been such hard work to make it so beautiful. And I was just, melting, and I said, yes, thank you.
Yeah, it was easy.
Yeah.
I just tweaked my nose and everything.
Yeah. And, no, I told her, I said, thank you, I really appreciate it. And she said, you're welcome. It was just so sweet. She was so cute. It was really, really nice. The kids enjoyed it, and just, that was kind of a little dream come true, so.
That's great.
Very nice. And then, just got a phone call yesterday from Stephanie Ritter, science teacher, about the sixth graders coming out again. So last year and the previous year, they've come out in May to plant plants and in October, November to collect seeds. And so this time, instead of going to the remnant prairie, we can go to the seeded prairie, and it's right down the street from their school. So they don't even need the bus to take them, they can just walk right there. So she really liked that idea, and they're gonna come out. She doesn't have a date yet. It'll be during the day as well, so I'll have to take a day off, whatever that is, and it'll be the last week of October or the first week of November. So of course, everybody's welcome, and as soon as I know the date, I'll let you know what that is. But
That
they're a
was
lot of fun
MacArthur?
too. MacArthur, MacArthur Middle School, sixth graders, and this will be the second year we started. Yeah, and that's a lot of fun too. Last year was very cold, but we made it work. All the kids really like the common milkweed. They love to collect the seed pods. They love to open them up to see what they look like. It's everybody's favorite. So that's what I wanted to mention about that. Oh, and I think I mentioned last time about the other school, the high school for special needs kids. They have not
Oh,
responded
yes.
back to me yet about a time or a date, so I'm waiting for that. That's all I have to say about that. Any comments?
Is there comments, Peter?
Is there comments? No? Okay,
I make the motion, we adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great.